Is there any greater pain than the pain of being betrayed by the people you love the most? No one could imagine that the very people who praised and worshipped Jesus would curse and call for his crucifixion. Yes, that is exactly what the Son of God had to go through to redeem humanity. Let us explore the journey of salvation of the Son of God through this story. Once upon a time, in the Holy Land of ancient Jerusalem, there was a man named Jesus. His name echoed through time, a humble teacher with interwoven stories of love, mercy, and the divine will of God. To everyone, he was a beacon, shining brightly in a dark world from far away. Folks flocked to hear Jesus preach, drawn by his mighty words of love and truth. They gathered wide-eyed, beholding miracles that defied the ages, wonders that stirred souls and whispered of divine power. His voice rang out, a sacred flame igniting hope across the ancient land. Yet shadows loomed over Jerusalem's ancient stones. Not all welcomed Jesus' light. Some city leaders and learned men bristled at his swelling influence, unnerved by the raw truths he proclaimed. His words cut deep, threatening their power, stirring unease in their guarded hearts. In hushed councils, they wove a sinister plot to seize him, desperate to halt the winds of change he carried, change that promised to upend their world. Fear festered into action, and their resolve hardened. Jesus must be stopped. Among his own, treachery took root. Judas, a disciple bound by greed and trembling fear, faltered in his loyalty. For 30 pieces of silver, cold, glinting coins, he struck a deal with the shadows. His heart, once warmed by his master's teachings, turned cold as he agreed to betray Jesus, setting in motion a chain of sorrow that would echo through the ages. The night grew heavy in the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus knelt in prayer beneath the ancient olives. Betrayal struck swift and silent. Judas, with a traitor's kiss, marked his Lord, signaling the soldiers lurking in the dark. Torches blazed as they seized him, bound his hands, and dragged him through the streets. Jesus faced the high priest's court, a den of accusation and deceit. False witnesses rose, their tongues dripping lies, yet his innocence shone unshaken, a light no shadow could dim. The leaders, cloaked in pride and fear, turned deaf ears to truth. They branded him a threat, a spark that could ignite rebellion against their brittle reign. In their eyes, his teachings of love and justice were a scourge to be snuffed out. With cold resolve, they decreed his fate. This man, this voice of God, must die. No mercy swayed them, no plea pierced their hardened hearts. The dawn broke grim as the leaders hauled Jesus before Pontius Pilate, Rome's iron-fisted governor, demanding death. Pilate, a man of law and power, stood as judge, his eyes searching the silent prisoner. He questioned Jesus, probing for guilt, yet found no crime, only a quiet strength that unsettled him. What wrong has he done? Pilate mused, his voice lost in the rising storm. But the crowd, whipped up into a frenzy by the conspiratorial leaders, cried out for blood. "Crucify him!" they cried, their voices a thunderous tide of hate, drowning reason. Pilate wavered, torn between justice and the spectre of riot. The weight of chaos pressed hard. He saw no escape. With a heavy and weak heart, he bowed before their wrath, sentencing the innocent Jesus to be crucified on the cross. The soldiers, hardened by Rome's cruelty, turned their scorn on Jesus. They wove a crown of thorns, its jagged spines biting into his brow, and draped a purple robe over his bruised shoulders, mocking him with sneers. "Hail, King of the Jews!" Laughter rang bitter as they struck him, their blows a prelude to the agony ahead. Then came the cross, heavy, rough-hewn, a burden no mortal should bear. Jesus staggered under its weight, each step a battle through Jerusalem's dust-choked streets, the crowd's jeers piercing deeper than the thorns. Blood streaked his face, yet he pressed on to Golgotha, where death loomed like a shadow over the hill. There they drove nails through his hands and feet, the hammer's clang echoing like a dirge. Hoisted high, the cross stood stark against the sky, and Jesus hung, racked with unimaginable pain, his body trembling under the sun's merciless blaze. Sweat and blood mingled, dripping to the earth below, yet from his parched lips came a prayer. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Compassion, unbroken even now, poured from his soul, a light amid the dark. Hours crawled by, each breath a labor, his mother and a few faithful weeping at the foot of the cross, their hearts shattered by the sight. The air grew thick, the crowd's taunts fading as his strength waned. Then, in a voice that broke the silence, he cried out, "Everything is done," and breathed his last. The heavens recoiled. The sky blackened as if cloaking itself in grief, and the ground quaked, splitting rocks asunder, a mournful groan from the earth itself. The sun hid its face, and a hush fell over Golgotha, the wind carrying whispers of loss. Soldiers paused, awestruck. The faithful wept louder, clutching one another in despair. This was no mere death. It was the Son of God, torn from the world, his blood staining the wood red. The scene burned with tragedy. A king crucified, his love met with hate, his sacrifice shaking the foundations of time. All who saw felt the weight. Something eternal had shifted, and the air itself seemed to mourn. When the noise died down, Jesus' followers stepped forward, their hands shaking with grief. They gently lowered his broken body from the cross, wrapping him in fine linen, the burial cloth of the fallen king. With heavy hearts, they laid him in a rock-hewn tomb, sealing it with a large stone. The air was heavy with grief as they left, leaving only the cold night and the howling wind outside Jesus' tomb. 3 days passed, immersed in silence and darkness, until dawn broke with a new beginning. Women devoted to Jesus, Mary Magdalene among them, trudged toward the tomb, their steps heavy with mourning, arms laden with spices to honor the dead. They approached the tomb hewn from rock, suddenly amazed. The mighty stone, once immovable, lay rolled aside, the tomb gaping open like a wound in the earth. They froze, hearts pounding. Who could move the huge stone blocking the entrance to the tomb? Trembling, they peered inside, only to find the linen shroud folded, empty, the body gone. A shiver of fear gripped them, but then a light blazed, brighter than the sun, and an angel stood before them, radiant, his voice a thunder of peace. "Do not be afraid. You seek Jesus, crucified and dead. He is not here. He is risen, as he said." The words struck like lightning, igniting their souls with a hope they dared not name. Days later, Jesus himself appeared, first to them, then to his disciples, who cowered in a locked room, haunted by grief and doubt. The door swung open, not by force but by grace, and there he stood, his voice calm but triumphant. "Peace be with you, it is I, do not be afraid." They fell to their knees, tears rolling down their cheeks with joy and happiness. He ate with them, spoke with them, his presence a living testament that the grave was conquered, that eternity now beckoned. To the shores of Galilee, he led them, his figure radiant against the waves, proving to hundreds more, skeptics and believers alike, that the Son of God had shattered death's chains, offering a promise of life everlasting. Time flies. 40 days have passed. Gathering his faithful, Jesus stood atop a hill, the wind carrying his final charge across the ages. "Go," he commanded, his eyes alight with divine fire. "To every corner of the world, tell them what you've seen. Spread my teachings, my love, my truth." The disciples nodded, hearts ablaze, no longer timid but bold with purpose. This was no farewell, but a beginning, a mission to carry his light beyond Jerusalem, to every nation, every soul. With a final blessing, he ascended, rising into the heavens as clouds parted in reverence. "I am with you always." His figure gradually disappeared behind the clouds, but his promise still lingered in the air, a ray of hope that would never die. And so, the tale of Jesus, his sacrifice and triumphant resurrection, etched itself into the heart of time, becoming the bedrock of Christian faith. His blood on the cross, rising from the tomb, stood as eternal symbols: love conquering hate, forgiveness silencing sin, life prevailing over death's cold grip. No force could undo what he had done. Through his agony, he bore the weight of humanity's flaws, and through his victory, he offered a path to redemption, a light for all who seek it. This was no mere story, but a divine saga, a cornerstone for millions who would kneel in awe of the Son of God, their spirits lifted by the promise of grace. His legacy endures, a flame that never dims. From Jerusalem's rugged hills to the farthest reaches of the earth, Jesus' story stirs souls, guiding countless lives with its timeless call to compassion and hope. It whispers in churches, sings in hymns, and lives in the hearts of those who hear it, generation after generation, unbroken, unshaken. His words, his deeds, his very being continue to inspire, a beacon for the lost, a comfort for the weary. And now, this epic tale reaches you. If it moves you, if it sparks something deep within, share it. Let it ripple outward. Follow channel Life of Jesus Christ for more uplifting and awakening stories, for this is but one chapter in a greater journey. Subscribe, join us, and together let's keep this light alive, shining bright for all the world to see, as Jesus' promise echoes on. He is with us always.